Right now is the best time to buy a new gaming PC build because the official Black Friday deals are here. So if you want a PC that's on a discounted price, it's going to give you great performance and it also fits your budget. Stay until the end because I will show you the best gaming PC for every budget and every resolution. And don't worry, I will explain everything as simple as possible. That way, if you are a beginner, you know the performance that you will get with each of these systems. You will have all of these PCs and bonus ones down below in the video description. With that being said, let's start. First, let's talk about the cheapest system on this video, the $800 1440p best value PC build. If you have less than $800, as I said before, there will be bonus PCs in the description, but I will talk about that later. If you have around $800 to spend, I think this is the best PC that you can get because you get the AMD Ryzen 5 5600, which is a great budget mid-range processor, alongside the RX 6800, which is going for $370 for Black Friday, and this is an amazing price for this GPU. You get 16 gigs of VRAM, which is going to be helpful at 1440p and even 4K resolution on a 15 game average at 1440p high to ultra settings, with high demanding games being tested as well, such as Cyberpunk 2077 or Hogwarts Legacy. The 6800 non-XT was able to average over 90 FPS, so you can expect over 90 FPS in every single game high to ultra settings. Of course, if you want to play easier to run titles, for example Fortnite or this type of shooters, you will be able to achieve 200 plus FPS on average on competitive settings at 1440p. And then if you have a 1080p monitor, the 6800 on that same 15 game average was able to reach over 120 FPS in every game high to ultra settings. So whether you want a really high FPS at 1080p or you want a 1440p solid gaming performance for less than $1,000, I think this PC is great since it's on a huge Black Friday discount. I've never seen a PC at this price point before with the 6800 and this level of performance. For the rest of the components, you get a B550 motherboard with enough features. I recommend you sticking to the stock cooler if you want to stay on the $800 mark, but if you have about $20 to $30 to spend, you can also add an aftermarket CPU cooler, which I will leave in the video description as well. Then you get 32 gigs of RAM, which is going to be amazing for gaming and for streaming as well if you want to do multitasking, productivity work, and tasks that require more than 16 gigs of RAM. Then you get 1 TB of Gen 3 SSD in the TeamGroup MP33. Then you get a beautiful case in the Bitfinex Nova Micro ATX Mini Tower case. This one comes with 3 pre-installed fans, so you don't have to actually buy more fans for this case. It has plenty of airflow, a front mesh panel, so no need to worry about the airflow. The temps for your GPU and your CPU are going to be low, and there's not going to be thermal throttling happening. And last but not least, we have the power supply in the MSI Mag A650BN. This is a 650 watt 80 plus bronze power supply going for $60. That's going to get the job done at this price point for this PC. The total price for this system is $798 with 56 cents when I'm recording this video. Maybe when you're watching this, it's a bit more expensive depending if you are watching this on the Black Friday season or not. If you have more money to spend, I do recommend you going for an $1,100 PC build, and here you have two options. You have the $1,000 PC build option and the $1,100 one. I do recommend you spending the extra $100 because it will give you a much better PC build overall. So if you want an upgradable system, this is a great one because down the line, if you want a new CPU, you will be able to buy a new CPU from AMD, and most likely you will not have to upgrade the motherboard, which on this case is the ASRock B650M Pro RS with Wi-Fi included motherboard. And then for the GPU, you get the RX 7800 XT, which is about 15 to 20% faster than the 6800 non-XT I've mentioned before. And on that same 15 game average I've mentioned, at 1440p high to ultra settings, the 7800 XT was able to average around 108 FPS, so as you can see, it's faster than the 6800 non-XT, and on a 15 game average at 1080p, it was able to average over 144 FPS. So this is an amazing system for 1440p maxed out settings. There's no limit when it comes to this resolution, and of course, if you want even higher FPS, you can play at 1080p. And then if you want a 4K monitor, you can expect 60 plus FPS on average on high to ultra settings, so you can play basically at any resolution with no issues. For the rest of the components, you get an A-tier rated 850 watt power supply that will let you upgrade components over time to higher end ones with no issues, because this one is the best quality out there, and it's also $80, so huge deal for Black Friday. Then you get a 1TB Gen 4 SSD and you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, which is going to be amazing for any task. Now, if you have around $1,000 and you do not want to go over $1,100, then I do recommend you downgrading some components, going with the same CPU but no aftermarket CPU cooler, so you stick to the stock one, which is going to be completely fine. Then I do recommend you downgrading to 16 gigs of DDR5 memory instead of 32 gigs, which is not going to be a huge deal breaker, especially when it comes to gaming. If you're doing content creation, by all means get 32 gigs of RAM, but if you're doing just gaming, 16 gigs of RAM is going to be fine. And then downgrade the GPU to the RX 6800 XT for $470 right now because of Black Friday. And in terms of GPU performance, the 6800 XT is slightly worse than the 7800 XT, not by much when it comes to gaming performance, but the 7800 XT has a newer architecture and it also has AV1 encoding, which is going to be useful for your streaming quality. And then another thing you can do is downgrading the power supply to a 750 watt 80 plus bronze power supply from Thermaltake for $65. If you make these downgrades, the total price will be $1,015. You will get amazing performance once again for 1440p, 1080p and 4K, so in terms of performance you don't have to worry about it. But if you have around $100 extra to spend, you're going to get the sweet spot for gaming, streaming and content creation, and it's a much nicer PC overall. And don't worry, you will have both alternatives in the description in case you got lost and you don't know what to upgrade or downgrade. With the next one we have the $1,500 1440p maxed out experience / 4K ultra gaming system, because you can play at 1440p maxed out on high to ultra settings with no issues. Here you get the Ryzen 7 7700, which is one step over the 7600 that I have mentioned before, and then you get the RX 7900 XT, which is about 30% faster than the 7800 XT from the $1,000 build. For you to see the performance difference from the same test I've mentioned throughout this video, the 7900 XT is able to average over 140 FPS at 1440p compared to the 108 FPS from the 7800 XT. And then at 4K, the 7900 XT was able to average over 80 FPS high to ultra settings, so as I said before, you will have no issues when it comes to 1440p and 4K resolution. You also get a better quality case in the Fantex Eclipse P400A with an extra fan, an 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply. You get 2TB of Gen 4 SSD instead of 1TB, which is going to be helpful if you're thinking of downloading a bunch of titles. And then you get an aftermarket CPU cooler for the Ryzen 7 7700. And overall, this PC is very power efficient and in my opinion the best system when it comes to price to performance for 4K resolution. Right now this PC is $1,485 when I'm recording this video, and that's because the 7900 XT is on a huge discount for $710, which is the lowest price I've ever seen this GPU at. And if you have more money, for around $1,930 you can get the best system for 4K resolution in my opinion, with the Ryzen 7 7800X3D going for $360, so huge deal on Amazon. And then you get the RX 7900 XTX, which is the second best GPU on the market right below the RTX 4090, and it's going to give you amazing performance at 4K and 1440p resolution if you want a 1440p monitor. On a 16 game average at 4K high to ultra settings, the 7900 XT was able to average over 110 FPS, and as I said before, the second best on the whole market, right below the 4090 and one step over the RTX 4080 by a slight margin. And you can also consider getting the RTX 4080. Right now it's $200 more expensive, but it has a better level of ray tracing, so if you really value ray tracing and DLSS, then you can spend the extra $200 and get this whole PC for about $2,150. If you just care about rasterized performance and you are going to do just gaming, I believe the 7900 XTX is the better option, but it really comes down to your needs and your budget. You will have the Nvidia GPU alternative in the description as well. Then for the case we have the Montech Sky 2, which is amazing. It has all the fans that you need, really good airflow for $88, and it's also premium quality. Then you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, 2TB of Gen 4 SSD once again. You get the Asus TUF B650 plus Wi-Fi ATX motherboard, which is a premium quality motherboard with more features than any motherboard I have mentioned in this video so far. Then you get a 240 all-in-one liquid cooler, which is going to look amazing on the system and it's going to cool down our Ryzen 7 7800 X3D. And last but not least, you get a 1050 watt 80 plus gold power supply, which is going to be enough for this system and also for future upgrades. There are bonus systems that you may want to check in the description because you will have every single budget there. You will have $500 systems, $1,400 ones, a $1,700 system that's going to be perfect for 4K ultra settings too, and then you will have PCs for more than 3,000 if you want the RTX 4090 and you just want the best of the best. So there's a PC really for anyone on this video, and if you need more personal PC help, then I do recommend you clicking the first link in the description, where I will help you out depending on your needs and depending on your budget. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.